is going on? This is Real Talk with Matt Milack. Special guest on the show tonight. Now, I've been wanting to do this for a long time. Mr. Josh Ruane. Josh, what's going on?
Not a whole lot. How you doing, Matt? How you doing, everyone?
Doing fantastic, dude. I'm happy to have you on the show. I think the funniest thing is the last time we met up and we came to the initial idea that we wanted to do the podcast, I think you were traveling, or you were headed out somewhere else, and I don't know if there was going to be a signal where you were going. So we were like, we got to hold off for a moment until you get back to do the podcast. So, Josh, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead, my friend.
Well, the last time I talked to you, I was me and a couple friends. We ended up throwing together some money, and we ended up purchasing a plot of land out in Oregon, and I was heading on my way out. I was back here in Pennsylvania for a little bit, tying up some loose ends, and then just getting everything ready to head back out that way. And then here we are, came back.
Excellent, man. Well, you know what? We're gonna jump in later to what you were doing out. And where did you say it was at? Where you were going?
Oregon.
Oregon. Yes, I remember Oregon. Okay, but I want to hear a little bit about your story. When I first met you. Everyone listening, if you could picture this, I was living in my fraternity house. Josh's brother, younger brother Anthony, is my little brother in the fraternity, and Anthony let us all know that his brother was coming to town, and it was, Josh, you remember, it was a wild blizzard, man. It was snowing like crazy, and we remember seeing you walk through the snow with your gnarly badass dog, the husky, man. It was incredible. Josh comes out of the snow like he is Jeremiah Johnson and mixed with a little bit of Jim Morrison. It was insane, dude. It was awesome. We loved it.
Yeah, it was a good time, man. I'm trying to remember the ride exactly, like how I got back, because I remember getting dropped off up there on the 80 and then just seeing Anthony with, it's been, it was a long time since I saw Anthony. This was the first time I seen him in college and everything. So proud of him with that now. And but anyway, that was a great night, and did not expect to walk in to see all the love that he had from his fraternity.
Oh, dude, we were happy to have you, man. You were the traveler, and that was so remarkable. And when I got to meet you, I remember you were, kind of sharing a little bit about yourself, your story, and it was remarkable to me. I was interested in it, and I want to hear more about that. Where did this idea come from to transition and just kind of inherit that get up and go type of lifestyle? You're somebody who literally lives life. You're a friend of mine who literally lives life, man. I know you do, because I've known you for a while now.
We all live lives and stuff, but I'm just the kind of person that would like to live his life to in his own standards and everything. I mean, don't get me wrong, I have to play into other people's games and stuff, and I have to play with the system, but I'd rather try to live the lifestyle of the way that I want, and that can be difficult sometimes. But anyway, you want to know how I was able to get into this kind of thing?
I'd love to, man. I think everyone listening to and listening in would love to hear how that happened, because it's extraordinary. I know bits and pieces, but we haven't seen each other in a while, so I forget some of it as well.
Well, there's a lot of different things, it's not all success. It's not all enlightenment. Let's just say that there was a lot of times where I made, just not really the best decisions, and, I just happened to fall into this kind of living. Well, let's just say, one of the first things that kind of just inspired me to get up and go was really I didn't have anything going for me. I was 22 at the time, just 22, and I wasn't going to school. I didn't have a job. I just got off probation earlier that year for marijuana possession, and I didn't really know what to do with my life. I didn't really feel comfortable with going to college because I feel I don't know. Let's just say I didn't have the money to go to college anyway. Let's just say I didn't feel like the opportunity was there for me. So I just kind of thought, what else is there for me? So, my friend Scott Popovich, he ended up inviting me up to this college town up in IUP, and just to help me get on my feet, because I just lost my house that I was staying at for the summer, and I was just hitting this like rock bottom moment in my life. And he picked me up, and at that college, I started to meet other people, and I started to get influenced in music. And let's just say one day I heard "Going to California" by Led Zeppelin, and
Oh yeah.
and dude, like, it just, something in me clicked, and I just, I just said, forget everything. I'm done with Pennsylvania for now, and I just want to head out west. I want to go see what that's like. And there's actually another story behind that too, on how I ended up getting out there. But yeah, that's kind of what started, was just the lack of opportunity, and trying to find something else, something different.
And you went with your dog. Your dog was named Max, right?
His name is Shane, and
Shane. I'm so sorry. I knew
yeah.
it was either Shane or Max, and I don't know why I was thinking Max. But Shane, dude, that picture with you with Shane on the train, man.
Yeah.
It's
That was,
amazing.
I actually ended up getting Shane when I first went out. I didn't have Shane when I left Pennsylvania. He's actually like, I went out in April. I actually left here in Pennsylvania April Fool's Day, and I ended up meeting him sometime like around I would say July. And I traveled with this dog trainer for like about 2 months, and I ended up taking him along with me. But that's a whole nother story too. But anyway, yeah.
Dude, you have many chapters to your story, but it's a bestseller. That's for sure.
There really is a lot of stories. Like if we could actually sit down and go through like the timeline from like 2012 to now, I'm pretty sure it could last for a good bit. Like
I love that, man.
Seconds.
That is sweet. So you literally just, had this feeling, and were you just kind of like, I'm just going to do it? Because, I mean, that's something where, like, a lot of people, I was listening earlier to an interview that Jim Morrison did. I'm a huge Jim Morrison fan.
Mm-hmm.
And I was listening to an interview he did, and he just kind of said that a lot of people are just very, with a calming, content, very quiet lifestyle, and I mean, not to say that that's not, the lifestyle you were living out there, because you're an extremely peaceful guy. But do you feel that more people should try to follow something when they want to, when they have those feelings come into their heart? I mean, myself, man, I know that I've shut some feelings out, thinking that I might not be able to do it.
Yeah. You know what? It all depends, because let's just say I would be lying if I said that I knew what was going to happen when I left, or if I was like made the smartest decisions. Dude, no, man. There's a lot of foolishness in my decisions, but at the same time, I just really felt like it was right. I just went with my gut, and I don't know. A lot of people today, I don't say that they like security, man. They like to know what's going to happen next. They like to know that they're going to have something there to catch them when they fall. And when it comes to that kind of lifestyle, there's really not. Like, if anything, it's, I don't know. I kind of just, when I would go out, I would just kind of like, I have this feeling of surrender. Like, if something happens, or if I get fucked over, then well, oh well, I'm just gonna have to keep walking forward.
Well, that's the one thing that I find so cool about why you were doing it, is because I do remember asking you, I remember saying, why don't you write a book? Why don't you somehow try to publish your incredible stories? And I do remember you saying, to me that wasn't the initial reason that you were doing it. You were feeling it. I think that's what's so cool, though, is that you weren't doing it for the fame or for the glory or to get noticed by someone. You were doing it because you wanted to do it, man.
Yeah. And you know what? That whole, like, I've actually had a couple other people ask me, like, why haven't you written a book? Well, I've thought about it a couple times, but you know what? If my life is actually worth writing down, then somebody else is gonna do it. I don't know. Like, I don't like. I kind of see it as like. Don't get me wrong. I'm not bashing on anybody who writes their story down.
Of course not. Yeah.
But at the same time, I feel like my kind of like it kind of clashes with my ego and like my outlook on myself. I don't know. I don't want to write down my things, like, because like it's kind of boring to like write down all this shit for me. I'm not saying that like my life is boring. It's just more like just the act. And if someone really wanted to like find out what my story is, they're gonna ask.
That's why
And
I'm having you on my show, man.
thanks, bro. I appreciate it.
We're making the audio book.
Yeah.
So you head out west. What's next when you get out there? You left. You heard the song. You got the feeling. You made the move. Where was the next destination?
All right. Well, okay. So that's another story within itself. So, a year prior to me taking off there in April of 2012, I was living with these two brother and sister, Kurt Kunkel and Jess Kunkel, and we were all staying at their parents' house at the time, and we were all moving out at the same time, and we all made a pact to in 1 year we're gonna live on our own, and after that 1 year we're all gonna collaborate and move out west together. Well, that's exactly when it ended up happening. They had a sister that lived out there in Brookings, Oregon, which is like right there on the coast of Southern Oregon, and we packed up the car, and I had like $1,000 in my pocket, my backpack with all of my other stuff and anything that I needed, and we took off. We left like around 12 o'clock midnight, and it took us like 4 days to get out there. But yeah, we went out there to go meet with their sister.
Dude, that is so wild. So what was that car ride out there like? I bet it was kind of like Easy Rider, Peter Fonda, and Dennis Hopper.
It was great. Like, I remember like how different like the country was compared to just Pennsylvania. You really, literally broadening your horizon. Like when you're traveling like that, you really learn a lot of common sense along the way, and you definitely feel like a small fish in an ocean. Like I know it sounds kind of menial, but I remember like first, like I think we were in Iowa and walking into like a gas station and them selling beer was just like, it just made me awestruck. Like, you never see this in Pennsylvania. And then,
oh my god.
Yeah, but like no, the car ride over there was really cool. But at the same time, like you get to know what kind of people you're traveling with when you're making that kind of long distance trek. Like there was a couple times where like I fucked up. There's where I fucked up along the way. Like there's like our first night out, like we were just about to stop and get a hotel, and I locked the keys in the car. All locksmith. And unlock the doors and everything, and I had to spend the money and everything, and I'm feeling like a jackass on the first leg of the trip, and yeah.
Oh shit, man.
Yeah.
Oh my god. So like, once you got out there, did you think that there was gonna be more, people like you and your friends who were kind of going that route, living out there?
Actually, I was actually really quite different from my friends. They're the introverted types. I was the more outgoing one, of course, but like what I mean by that is like, well, even before we left, they knew that I wanted to go out and do like the whole not hippie, but like the whole hitchhiking hobo lifestyle. But at the same time, when we planned on going out there, like I wanted to like get a place with them and stay with them and just try to like build a life with them while we're out there. Well, that didn't happen. Like as soon as we got out there, they ended up getting their own places, and they were like, we knew what you wanted to do. It sucks, but go do your thing. Like, we're still your friends. We're gonna help you out when you need, but like, we're not gonna.
And was that a tough thing though to follow through with though? I mean, you made it all the way out there, thinking that you guys were gonna go on this adventure.
It was because because we moved out there together and everything, and I envisioned that we were gonna do this as a group, but once we got out there, they were just like, you want to do something else, so go do your thing. I mean, I kind of felt betrayed, but at the same time, it was what I needed, because I had a wanderlust at the time. I wanted to go out and just venture. They knew that they knew that I didn't want to be like barred and obligated.
So when that happened though, you didn't turn back, right? You kept going though, I thought.
Yeah. Well, so what happened was I ended up meeting like these two kids. Well, so we ended up getting a hotel in this place called Ashland.
Okay.
It's the first. It's the first major city that's right there that's on the five, Interstate 5, coming up from California. It's a nice little hippie town. Really cool place to anyone who's interested. They hold like a Shakespeare festival. A lot of hippies, a lot of new age hippies there. A lot of yuppies too, but
What's a yuppie?
What?
What's a yuppie?
A yuppie is more of like a high class kind of business person, just. So I would say something like the opposite of a hippie.
Okay, I got you.
In a sense, but it's like a blanket sense for just upper class people.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
But anyway, so yeah, we ended up getting this hotel room there after we went and met up with their sister, and I saw these two kids with backpacks and their dog, and I was just like blown away. I just started asking questions, and they were happily answering and whatnot, and they told me all the information that I needed to start hitchhiking and getting by and whatnot, and I can't remember their names, but I'm still friends with them on Facebook. They ended up heading down to California and having a child and whatnot. But
oh, wow,
anyway,
that's sweet.
Go ahead.
I said that's awesome. That's very cool.
Mm-hmm. So, but anyway, so I met them, and then so after that, I headed up north. I headed up towards Washington State.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. I ended up heading up. I have some family up there, and I ended up staying up with my uncle for about 2 months, just to just to experience a new town and everything. And I still didn't really start traveling until around July. So because I was still away from home. I still had a place where I could lay my head and everything. I wasn't pushed out into the world yet. So, but yeah, is there anything you want to recap or ask?
No, I mean that's that's interesting on itself. It's amazing just you going out there, man, and even getting this major roadblock. And being like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? We just rode out here 4 days and
yeah.
Was it because I locked the keys in the car? Why don't you guys want to keep coming with me, man?
It wasn't so much that, dude. I've been friends with them for a long time, and it's not like they pushed me out because of I don't know, I didn't see it in a malicious. I didn't see the reason behind it was malicious. It was just more hey, dude, you want to go do your thing, and this is not it. So go. And they were right. I was destined for something else.
So did you ever live in what is the word for them? Is commune?
No, I haven't really lived in a commune yet. I mean, I would like to experience that, but one of these days I'll get around to it.
You ever make it out to the property at Woodstock?
No, I was actually up in Woodstock not too long ago, about a couple months ago actually, but I went to the city, but the actual site of Woodstock is not in Woodstock. It's actually a little bit farther outside of town. I think a little bit about southwest. I'm not too sure because they were supposed to hold it in Woodstock, and then the town got wherever farm that they were supposed to hold it at, just backed out because of how big it was going to be, and then some just random farmer on the outskirts of the town said that they would help out and hold it there. But most of my travels have been gravitated out west.
I love that, man. Hey, by the way, if you could go back in time, would you go back to Woodstock?
Oh yeah,
that'd be sweet, man. That'd be really cool. That'd be. I remember my dad bought the Woodstock DVD. We watched it, and there was these two kids who were the reporter was going around and interviewing the cars in the line, and they saw this couple, and he was like, "Yeah, so you guys are from where?" And they were from real far away, and they were like, "Yeah, we just heard about the concert and heard about Woodstock, and we don't have any tickets or anything, but we're just kind of hoping that we're going to find a way in."
So it ended up being free, so they had their miracle granted.
Yeah, I know. It was wild, man. It was wild. So, but I want to jump into Oregon, dude. Oregon,
Mhm.
I know that's got some wild stories behind it. So if you want to even reveal what the initial idea was with Oregon, because I find that extremely fascinating and cool as well, because I know it's a coming of age type of industry.
Mhm. Well, you know what? I haven't really told the whole lot about this, Matt, but actually, I think I'm going to be signing that off to my other partner. I think I'm not ready to do that out there.
What's that? The
Or
working.
we ended up buying the land, yeah, but let's just say, when you make wrong investments with people who you don't really know, yeah, sometimes you gotta really pick and choose on who you go in with.
Are we allowed to reveal what the property was for?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Because
We want.
that's what I want to hear from you. I mean, you're the guy who knows about it. You know what I mean? I think
Well,
that's
if any,
incredible.
well, well, what happened was like when I went out there, like yes, we were gonna have this farm to start farming medical marijuana or just marijuana in general. If anything, we wasn't just gonna be that. Like it was gonna be a place where we can live and stay. But sometimes people get ahead of themselves and they jump into things without like thinking things through. And that was definitely one of this is definitely a lesson of that right there.
How do you like? What's the big thing behind starting a farm like that? I mean, I'm sure it's got to be much more complicated than growing like corn, or is it not?
Well, actually, it can be very complicated. The one thing that kind of turned me off of where we got the property was the location. Of course, we were in a high desert. We were away from any major cities or in towns. Probably like about 45 miles from the nearest town, and probably like about I want to say maybe 120 miles from the nearest city. And I think it's kind of sad, with because it could be such a beautiful industry and it shouldn't be hidden as it is today. And that's like the whole reason why I wanted to go out there and do that thing in the first place instead of doing it here is because it's not as accepted as it is here. It's
And why do you think that is? I mean, because opinions will always vary, and I love listening to someone who has a logical opinion behind it. I've talked to you about this before. You have an extremely logical, very worth listening listening to opinion on this type of industry. I mean, why do you feel that it should be more accepted?
well, I mean, look at the facts. Like, has there ever been a recorded overdose in marijuana?
I
Like,
don't believe so. Yeah, no, right?
yeah, to be honest, I could spout off like all these facts that like the next person knows about marijuana, but you know, it has its pros and cons. Like, I can argue with the cons and stuff about it from just starting at an early age and just having that as a focus. But when it's used as like for medicinal purposes, it's the wonder drug.
Yeah.
Like,
Now, is there like dangers to? Well, first off, I gotta ask, like the process of everything going down. Is there like tons of irrigation that you're gonna have to run? Is it like a big field of marijuana on the farm, or is it kind of like secluded, or more so like a gentleman's garden or something like that where it's rather large?
well, the place that I got into, it was not a medical marijuana grow. It was like a personal farm, and we were secluded. This was out in Hayfork, California, out in Trinity County, uh, and it's kind of sad that it has to be like that because I don't like the distrust behind it all. Like it's a big reason why I'm here right now, and kind of wanted to get away and break away from that industry because it's just the area where I can be able to get knowledge in the field. It's it's just not. It's just how would I put this? it's not ideal working terms out there.
And that's
I
just
had
the environment, or
Yeah, the place that I went to, I mean, well, okay, well, so let's back up.
sure thing. Go ahead.
So it's like it's 2013, and I'm hitchhiking down from Washington State. There's like I said, we could go back and I can just piece this timeline for like all these stories and stuff
I
together.
love your stories, though, man. You can feel free to take it any direction that you want to.
All right. Well, let's just keep at the topic at hand for now. But anyway, so like I'm
Perfect.
hitchhiking down from Washington State, and I with the thought in mind, like I'm getting a job in pot. So a couple of years or the year prior, I heard about this place, the Emerald Triangle, and how like all the outdoor marijuana comes from this one spot in Northern California, and I caught a lead from one of my friends who ended up getting a trim job down there. Now, a trim job is a job where you trim all the nice nuggets and make them like nice and compact. Like the finished product that you're getting does not fall off the plant like that. It has to be trimmed and manicured and harvested, and there's a lot of steps that need to be taken to make sure it is given to the customer. But anyway, so I ended up getting a ride down to Redding, California, and my buddy Dave, he gave me the tip to head to Hayfork, and I walked for probably like about 10 miles back up into the mountains just to get onto the right highway to get back into town, and I ended up getting a ride into Weaverville, and like Trinity County is way in the middle of nowhere. It's up in the mountains, very secluded, very, how would I put this? A very scarce police presence. Anyway, so I'm in Weaverville. My buddy says, no, that place is way too big. You want to go out to like the middle of fucking nowhere, because that's where all the farmers are at. They're all up in the hills and all away from the cities and everything, because that's where you're going to be able to do whatever you want, obviously, and no one's going to come walking up onto your property.
Was this place like the Atlantis of pot? It was like the hidden the hidden place, the spot that maybe no one else could find.
Well, it's not. I wouldn't say like it wasn't the place that no one could find. Like people knew about it, but it was one of the places where like you don't really go
Yeah.
to. Like I started going. I went there, and let's just say like okay, so I went there and came back out and was pretty successful. And I heard later on, I would mention people like, yeah, I went to Hayfork and stuff and got a job up there, and they were like, you went to Hayfork? And I was like, yeah, why? And he's like, because usually people go there to get shot.
Really? So was it like a bad area, or was it just like that's what I'm trying to like are we talking bad hills of West
Like,
Virginia where they're protecting their moonshine, or like bad
well,
8 Mile?
there's a saying that goes on up there in those hills, dude. It's easier to bury a kid than to pay a kid.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, dude. So, okay, so to get back on track with the story, so I'm in Weaverville, and my buddy hits me up and is like, dude, you got to go to Hayfork. That's where, all the work's at and stuff. You can just hang out in front of the coffee shop and just ask for people for work and stuff. So I slept there in Weaverville for the night, and the next morning I got a ride and into Hayfork. And, dude, like, it's in the middle of this valley. It used to be an old logging town, and after so long, the logging mill shut down, and the people didn't really know what to do. This was like back in the 70s, and they all start growing pot because like it was in a really good climate for it, and not only that, like there was no police at all, so it kind of became like the town's economy. Like if you were to go up into that town and like raid all the people who are growing pot, then the whole town would shut down.
Really? So
Yeah.
they just kind of let it go, like the police know about the area, but like they just might not travel in that
They
sector.
they do know about it, but like the thing is, like it's kind of a hush hush thing too. It's not like people are just flaunting all their shit, like that they're growing and they have like grow ops, but you know it's a known thing.
Now, when you were up there, after did you know about that saying even before you went into it, or were you just kind of like so? If you had
No,
heard that, oh, go on. I'm sorry.
no, go ahead. Sorry.
If you had known about that, would you have kind of like steered clear? By no means. I know you would never be a guy to ever take part in something like that. I mean, for Christ's sake, you give the best hugs.
You know,
But
you know what? I probably would have but like I said, there's the foolishness that comes into play with my lifestyle. You just kind of just say fuck off or just fuck all to the wind and just go and do it anyway.
wild. So when you were out there coming back and returning and kind of finding out that that spot's got its dangers, what was going through your head? Because, I don't know if I want to get, or I don't know how personal you want to get, but did you ever face any dangers out there where you were kind of nervous?
Oh yeah. So I get there to Hayfork and I'm not even there for a day, and I can just tell that the townsfolk and the locals just don't want me there. Like, it's not like I was acting a fool or anything, or begging or just walking up to random people and just asking for work. I would say I'm pretty timid and pretty laid back when it comes to me traveling. I don't get into anybody's face. I'm the kind of person that would like to be approached, or if I can pick up on a cue where I can approach someone, then I'm gonna take that. But it was just the general vibe that I was picking up there, and then so I walked down to the park and I just make the decision that if I'm gonna catch a job, then I'm gonna get it hitchhiking.
Okay.
So I no I started walking to the edge of town, and these people saw me walking with my dog or walking with Shane in my backpack, and they said they saw me walk by, and then they jumped in their car. They followed me to the edge of town, and they drove up, and they asked me if I was looking for work, and sure enough, they asked me if I smoked meth. I said no.
Yeah.
If I'm an alcoholic, I said no. And if my dog listens, and I said yes. And they're like, well, okay, we'll be back in 10 minutes. And sure enough, they come back in 10 minutes, and they tell me to jump in the car, and off we go. We go up into the mountain. I have no idea who these people are. They're very kind of roughneck, kind of hillbilly looking.
That's what I wanted to ask. The description about the people, because I get this idea of you're walking into a territory that sounds like they might have got the idea to make the characters from Deliverance, in this area.
Dude, there are those kind of people up there, man. There's people who are just feel like they're shunned by society, and they live up in the hills, man. They don't want to be bothered by anyone, and they're up in the mountains for a fucking good reason. Don't get me wrong, you find some really cool people up there too, and you find some when people think of the pot farmers, I'm pretty sure they automatically think of the hippies.
Yeah.
No, dude.
Really?
You're up in that area, we're talking country people, rednecks and hillbillies. Those are the ones who are doing a lot of the farming.
So they find out that you're not a meth head, and
yeah.
they know you're not an alcoholic, and that Shane's a good guy, good dog, and you go with them.
Yeah.
Were you kind of at all curious, shit, where the fuck are they taking me?
Dude, fuck yeah, man. Okay, so we drive 10 miles back up this mountain, back into this place called Indian Valley. And now, so we're driving back in. Okay, so we're on a forest road. It's all paved all the way up until they pull into their neighborhood. Now, the neighborhood that I'm talking about, there's a whole community that lives back in this one certain area in the national forest. The area is surrounded by the natural forest, and there's just little pocket of people who stay up in this one area. Like I said, it's called Indian Valley. Anyway, so like we pull in, get on the dirt road, and we're driving back, and it's like their house is like 2 miles back, and we're pulling up into their driveway, and it's like another 2 football fields back to their house. And as we're pulling in, like there's this, I don't know if it's a human rib cage or like a deer rib cage hanging from the tree. And when you first pull into this kind of situation and you have no idea who these kind of people are, that kind of setting does not help.
So it was just a rib cage?
Yeah, like
dude, this sounds like the movie The Ritual.
Dude, it was weird. Like I ended up finding out like the lady who stayed there like had like a fascination with bones and stuff, and
that's okay then. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know, like, dude, people were fucking. I mean, they had their ups and downs, but God, it was definitely mental gymnastics what they put me through.
Damn, dude. So are you like thinking that this might have been like, not to put the label on anybody, obviously, but was this kind of like maybe like a cult or something like up there, just kind of hanging out amongst themselves, or?
No, it wasn't a cult. It was, there's just these people who just live up there and wanted to grow pot and kind of just wanted to be away from people. So, like I said, when I get up there, they're telling me the ins and outs and stuff, and like who they are, and what they're about, and what I'm up there for, and they ask me like if I have like any experience in pot and stuff, and I tell them straight up no. Like, I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm trying to like get my footing in and trying to learn the tricks of the trade, and they respected that I was honest with them and stuff, because they say that like it happens all the time where kids come up there and they say that they know what they're doing and they have no fucking clue, and then they're gone the next day. Like, and what I mean by gone, like they're just fired.
Yeah. Maybe it's like I got experience smoking, not the growing side of things.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
That's wild, man. So, when you up and decided to leave, were they at all nervous that, you were going to give out this unknown location, or was it legal by then in California?
No, it was not legal. Not recreationally. No, they weren't afraid of that, because like, dude, everyone in that area grows pot.
Yeah.
And the only people who really catch any flack from law enforcement are people who grow too much.
Okay.
Like people know that they're people, like the police know like everyone's growing pot up there. It's just when people get greedy and they have too many plants and stuff on their property, like that's when they come in and they take their shit.
So
like, no, they weren't worried about me leaving. Dude, like, so I left after working with them for like about a month. Well, actually, you were asking if I got into anything dangerous while I was there. I was just getting to that real quick. So I'm the new guy in the mountain, and these guys are like hillbilly roughnecks. Didn't know, they don't trust new people. And so there was this one guy on there who they were friends with. His name was Douglas.
Okay.
Like, this is the kind of guy who you would picture like just a hillbilly alcoholic would be like teeth are missing out of his head, like he has that like alcoholic drool, has to have a beer in his hand at all time or else like he's shaking.
Might have some weird thoughts going on in his head. Yeah.
Smells like piss and everything. Well, anyway, like we're all hanging out, and as the night gets on, like he gets drunker and drunker and drunker, and like he's like questioning me and shit, and like asking me if I'm better than him and this and that, and like he ends up pulling his gun on me and shit. And
oh my god.
Yeah, like puts it in my face, and like, dude, I have no, like, dude, I'm in a situation where like, dude, if I make the wrong move or say something stupid, I'm gonna get shot, and like no one's gonna know like where I'm at. Like I can easily be buried and just be gone and forgotten about like the next day.
Oh my god, man, that's fucking nuts.
Well, dude, like I just took it in strides. It's not like I was egging him on to shoot me or anything.
No,
But
dude, you're a peaceful guy.
like I didn't. Well, the one thing is like if you show weakness in that kind of situation, then they're gonna feed on it. You know, it's not like I didn't wince back. I didn't like I don't know. Like I just stood there, just blank stare. Like I was just kind of telling, like just saying it with my eyes. Like you know, if you're gonna really shoot that gun, like then just do it. Like. Well, they ended up taking the gun away from the guy and like emptying the bullets out of it and giving him the gun back. So like he was able to like play around with it and shit, and like so he wouldn't like I don't know, like they were just playing into him and everything. And then later that night he figured it out that you know the bullets were not in there, and he was gonna go up there and grab him. And that's when I was just like, you know what, I'm out. I'm going to sleep. I'm gonna go hide somewhere else. And after that, that actually scored me some brownie points with the people of the property. So they're a part of a collective, and like a whole bunch of other people are in this. They throw money into like the pool and everything, and they all have this certain. They all have like this pool to pull out of to be able to help them with their operations and everything. And let's just say that the collective caught wind of this, and they caught shit for it. He caught shit for that because, you know, that's just not right.
Yeah.
And so anyway, they were saying that like, well, he held his own, like he was able to, you know, he didn't back down. And so they knew that what kind of person I was after that. So, but at the same time, like the next fucking day, it's not like, dude, that was fucking traumatizing. I hid the entire next day because I did just not want to be around anyone after that. Like, I almost fucking got shot.
Yeah, man, that had to be insane. So, what happened? Like, did the guy ever come up and be like, "Hey, man, my bad," or what? Like,
You know what? Actually, yeah, he did. About a couple days later, so they had two houses. They had one up in the hills, and they had one down in town. And you know, one of these times he came through. You know, he saw me. We made eye contact. I waved and shit, and he went outside and was drinking and shit. And the people ended up taking off, and I was just me and him. He was outside. I was inside sweeping up and cleaning up in the house. And I went out there, brought him a beer and stuff, went back out inside, and he said thank you and whatnot. And later on that day, he said, "Hey, I'm sorry. I treated you like shit, and you were nice to me back. Either way, thank you." And you know, we let bygones be bygones and stuff. And yeah, he's an all right guy. He protects his own.
dude, that's wild, man. Holy shit. So it was just like that. You were like, all right, you know, it's cool. Josh, that's one of the things I love about you, man. You were just like, you were a free bird, dude. You just let the feeling feel, man. That's your thing. I love it, man.
Well, think about it, man. You can't really like you know, when you're in that kind of situation and when you're in a new town with new people and shit, you know, you can't let those feelings kind of like get the best of you and shit. And especially, you know, if you want to, you know, live,
Yeah.
you got to kind of roll with the punches.
God, so, you know, being out there, after all that played out, when you eventually did leave,
hmm
did you ever go somewhere else after that? You know, I mean, before you came back to Pennsylvania.
No, actually, well, so I worked there for like about a month and a half, and I ended up leaving like a little bit right before I think a little bit after my birthday, and they didn't give me anything. They actually they said, okay, so I was leaving the property, and they were saying, hey, if you trust us, we will send you out of pound, and I did, you know, I wasn't gonna cross the country with a pound of marijuana in my backpack. Well, not like I haven't done it before, but not then. So anyway, so no, so like after I left, I hitchhiked all the way back home, and there's a whole nother story too with the with that whole trip. That was like the first time that was actually the story with me and Shane on the train.
Dude.
That was it. Yeah.
What was that like? You know, I mean, how did you even get on that train?
Okay, so, well, I get dropped off. Okay, so, I'm in Reno, Nevada, and, I'm trying to think of where I got. I always try to think of like who dropped me off where and everything, because I always like to try to include that within this story and everything. But it's just I'm drawing a blank on who dropped me off in Reno. But anyway, I'm in Reno and just trying to like I would say it's like almost November, starting to get a little cold out and everything. And I've never hopped a train before. I tried and unsuccessfully did it in El Paso with my buddy Scott, and that was like that. Like again, that's a whole nother story. But anyway, so I'm in Reno for like about a day and a half trying to figure out how to like just get out. Like I walked to the very eastern edge of the town, and I'm out there trying to hitchhike on the interstate 80 for like about 4 hours. And then I get kicked off by the state trooper saying that like I can't be out there and everything, and I'm gonna have to walk all the way back to the interstate or back to the exit and the off ramp and everything. And that was just fun within itself. But anyway, so I walk back and I'm right next to the train tracks, and I see these other kids walking up, just about to go onto the off ramp or onto the on ramp to hitchhike, and I walk up to them and I'm like, dude, you're not gonna catch a ride out of here anytime soon. Like I just got kicked off by the police, and there was a boy and a girl named Sam and Roman, and they just got done working with a conservation corps, and they were heading out towards Detroit for some very odd fucking reason. I have no idea. Anyway, the train passes, and I look at them and I was just like, dude, we can always try hopping this train. And they just looked at each other, shrugged their shoulders, and were like, all right. So what we did was we gathered all of our stuff and we walked back west towards the west end of the train yard. Because if you're gonna try to catch a train, first of all, you never want to try to catch it while it's moving, because that is very dangerous. People die, people lose limbs that way, and it's just not overall, it's just not a wise idea. So anyway, we walked like 6 miles back towards the west end of the yard, and it's around 7:30, and the first train comes up and it stops. So we throw all of our shit on the back of this. It's a gray car, and on both ends there's a porch, but it's not like a box car. It's really hard to describe it over the radio or over through voice. But anyway, let's just say like there is just like a nice little cover for all three of us and Shane, for enough room for us to just stay low and not be seen.
Yeah.
And so we were in that train yard for like about 3 hours.
Holy shit, man.
Yeah, because like as it's moving through the yard, it's either there's cars being added to it, and it's just inching through as it's being built up, or like there needs to be inspections. There's just general maintenance. So we didn't end up leaving that yard until 11:30, and which we got really lucky, because usually there's railroad police that travel up and down the train to make sure that there's no passengers or like any train hoppers on there. And I've heard stories of they're called yard bulls, of dragging kids off and beating the shit out of them.
Holy shit, dude.
Yeah, taking their stuff or taking them to jail, or just but other times where they just pull you off and just say like, hey, get the fuck out of here. Damn. And then there's other times where they see you and they're just like, do your thing. But no, we did not get seen. Like I said, we pull out of the yard like around 11:30 at night, and dude, we're off heading in the dark in the middle of the Nevada desert.
In the desert?
Yeah, dude, we were going through Nevada.
Dude, was there anything around you?
Nothing, dude. Like, it was just all dark. Like, and like, I had no idea what to expect when I got on this train. The noise was the one thing that was just whoa. Like, the one thing that you should have, like, kind of picked up on and knew that was going to come, but, like, holy crap. Like, it was impossible to sleep. Like, it was just so fucking loud because, like, we're outside.
Yeah.
And then there'd be times, like, where, okay, so we're making our way, and all of a sudden we're slowing down, and then we're stopping. And then we just come to a complete halt. And, like, this first happens, and we're like, holy shit, what the fuck's going on? Because, like, we're out in the middle of the desert, and, like, I mean, I have an idea, like, where we're at, because, I can look on Google Maps and, like, look where the train tracks and stuff are going to go. I knew where we were heading towards. We were heading towards Salt Lake City,
Okay.
or Ogden, Utah, which is, like, a city, like, 30 miles north. But anyway, so we're stopped, and we have no idea what's going on. And then about, like, a minute later, we hear another train coming from the opposite direction. And we realize that there's sections out in the middle of the country that there's actually only one main train track going from one spot to the next. And there's, like, sections where it breaks off into two because one train needs to be able to pass the other without colliding into each other. So that's what the two train tracks are for. So we're stopped in the middle on one side to let the other train pass.
Yeah.
And so we learned why we were stopping every now and then. So anyway, we wake up the next morning, and we're in Elko, Nevada, which is on the eastern side of the state. And we're stopping again, and we're pulling into another yard, and we're starting to inch in front of the office. And as we're starting to inch forward towards the office, this truck pulls up and stops right in front of the car that we're on. And these two guys they pop their heads out the window, and they're like, that's not a safe place for you to be. And, I tell them my story. I'm like, dude, I'm just trying to go home. I got kicked off the interstate from hitchhiking. I'm not getting off. Like, I'm sorry. Like, yeah, I know it's dangerous, but
it's not
sorry.
happening.
I mean, it's not like I told the guys, like, I'm not getting off, but, like, just trying to go home, man. And they're like, well, it's not safe. Yeah, I know. And they're like, well, okay. And they drive off, and I thought that was, like, the best case scenario. But, like, 10 minutes later, they come back, and they're like, there's an open box car, like, about 10 cars down. The train's leaving here in 15 minutes. You better go back, get down there, so you have a safer spot.
Holy shit, dude! You got some cool ass yard dogs, man. Oh my god.
Yeah, dude. So, like, we hopped off, and we ran down, hopped onto this big ass open box car, and I don't think it was open because, like, we went through and checked all the places that we can hop on, and that wasn't open before we left. So I'm pretty sure they went down there and opened the spot for us so that we can have a safer place to be.
Oh, dude, that is sweet.
Yeah, dude, it was really cool. And so we ended up getting up there and everything, and dude, it was just smooth sailing the entire way. But one thing that there was actually a couple things that I was not prepared for when we hopped onto that train. Sometimes you don't know how long you're going to be on that train for, and you're eventually going to run out of food and water.
Oh my god.
So,
yeah.
like, and the night before, like, when, like, as we were heading towards Elko, my camel bag burst. And so, like, I was sleeping in a puddle of my own water and shit.
Oh, shit, dude.
Yeah, it was rough. Yeah, it was rough. But, no, other than that, but, like, not having a whole lot of food and not a whole lot of water to get by on, like, the ride was amazing. That picture that you saw, that me and Shane have, that was, like, us pulling out of Elko. And that was Roman who took the picture. Anyway, one of my favorite parts about that whole trip from Reno to Ogden was we went right through the middle of Salt Lake. Like, there's a levee there that has the train tracks run through, like, right through the middle, and it was one of the most beautiful sights I've ever seen. Like, it was really, like, one of the most eye-catching things was out on the horizon, the water would, it was blue, and then towards the shore it was all pink.
Yeah.
It was absolutely wonderful.
I can imagine, dude. That's
Yeah.
incredible.
Mhm.
That's a
Yeah.
picture too, by the way, that most definitely belongs, on a book, dude. That is when I saw that picture, I was like, this is radical, man. This is unreal.
Yeah. People really respond to that one.
Hell yeah, hell yeah. So, what's up lately, man? You got any new travels or adventures? If you ever told me that you were, if you ever shot me a message and was like, hey Matt, I'm out the North Pole, I would not believe you. I would believe you, man. You're the traveler, dude. I love it. It's very cool.
Thanks, man. Well, dude, right now, I mean, me and my friend do have an idea about getting a sailboat and stuff and going out. I've had this idea for a while now. We want to like just save up a couple $1,000s, get a boat, and then have like a couple extra thousand and stuff just to be able to get by. But I'd like to do that. But right now, I would like to focus on a little bit with just staying in the same spot, because I love traveling, dude. I love it, and I'm so glad that I have the experiences and stuff and the knowledge that I've gained from it. But at the same time, I'd like to start looking and working inwards. As hard as as hard as that sounds for me, like it's something that needs to be done. I kind of crave structure now. I kind of always have. And but who knows, man? Because my life, it's a roller coaster. I never really have set plans because I would say I wouldn't say I'm like super impulsive, and I would say I like to think things through before I make any decisions. But I like to keep things open. When the opportunity arises, let's just say if like tomorrow you're gonna be like, hey Josh, I'm heading down west, or I'm heading down south, or I'm heading out to a different country. Oh, dude, you best believe I'm gonna figure out a way to go with you.
Oh yeah, dude. And that's the craziest thing. Is like, do you ever feel that the feeling that you got, the life that you live? I feel like you're kind of an old soul, dude, which is total compliment, by the way. You love the old school type of stuff, right?
Yeah, I do. I appreciate that.
And do you think that, it's kind of transitioned itself even more so, as far as back in the day of people just kind of living life and enjoying themselves, it's a totally different topic, but I love all that old school stuff, man. I feel like even the old rockers back in the day, I love my rock music, and I just feel like they lived life totally different than what people do today, man. They just really, they saw their vision, but they didn't know what stones they were going to step on to get to where they wanted to go.
Mm-hmm. Can you repeat the question there one more time, brother?
More so, do you think that life itself and the people's belief of the meaning of life has kind of transitioned to where back in the day, guys like Jimmy Page and Jim Morrison and Robbie Krieger, they saw their vision, man. Even Morrison, he saw his vision,
mm-hmm.
but he was going to step on those stones. He didn't know what stones he was going to step on to get to that end destination.
Mm-hmm. And that can kind of go both ways. It all depends on where you're looking. I would say in my kind of lifestyle of minimalist kind of surrendering, I don't know, I would say it's a lot easier to be able to. I don't know. Like I said, that kind of question kind of goes many different ways in how you look at it.
Do you feel that? I gotta ask you this too. Do you think that Jim Morrison? There was an old tale. The reason he was why he was, if that made any sense, hopefully. But I guess he thought that when he saw when he passed, those Native Americans that got in that car accident. Well, first, have you ever seen the movie on Jim Morrison? Val Kilmer was in it, The Doors.
I haven't.
It's an awesome movie, dude. It's really cool. But apparently, like when Jim Morrison was a little guy, his family was driving past in the desert. Native Americans. They were in a car crash, and it was real gory and bloody. And there's like some old tale that Jim believed that those spirits jumped in his body, made him the kind of man that he was. You know, that wild, crazy, very interesting dude who, nonetheless, became a musical genius. What's your thoughts on that?
As in like the spirits and stuff
Yeah, dude, I gotta ask you that. Are you a spirit believer? You think they're there?
Of course. Actually, it all depends on what you mean by like the word spirit, because I feel like anyone's spirit could be. Okay, so how would I put this? Now he took those, like, he took that story and he took it at the heart, right?
Yes, he did. Yeah.
He believed that those spirits embodied him.
Yes,
right?
That's the right word. Yes, I was listening to the word.
Now think about, like, instead of like reword it in a sense, like instead of like the spirits embodying him, like he took the message of what happened there and he applied it to his life, and we can call that their spirit, their energy. You know what I mean? So
write that
in
down.
a sense,
That's incredible.
Like in a sense, because like I there's a really cool quote that I've heard over the years and stuff, and the stuff and the things that I've read, and one of them is a person, when is a person like truly dead? It's not when they're shot, it's not when they've been blown up, it's not when they're completely eviscerated, it's when they're forgotten.
Wow, that is
yeah. And now that's not my quote, but it's true though. He didn't forget those spirits, so like I can see like how important that story was to him and how it helped him shape. So like, yeah, you can just say that it was their spirits that inherited his body.
That's an incredible answer, Josh. Wow.
Thank you.
Wow. And do you think that and this is one of the last questions I'll ask you, do you feel that when you were on your travel, hitchhiking and living the life that you were, really getting in touch with life and just going your way, did you ever have any spirits? Kind of a weird question to ask, but did you ever have any, like, feelings, or where you thought somebody else was showing you the way or the light, or that somebody else was trying to talk to you?
I would say there's a lot of people, dude. Like, everyone who I've met on my travels has been an influence, whether like even though if I don't remember it or not, because let's just say that well, actually, to bring it back to the question at hand, if anyone's actually really spoken to me, give me a little bit of time to think on that, because actually, yeah, there was one kid who was really influential and everything and really helped me out, and his name's Brandon. His name's Brandon McKinney. He's like one of my best road dogs that I've ever traveled with. He showed me like just the fun-loving lifestyle of living out on the road and stuff, and that was a road dog. But you're saying, you were asking me what spirit has spoken to me?
Yeah, like if you ever were by, on your own, and you just kind of, not per se like heard like a legitimate voice, but like maybe saw something or felt something a little bit uncomfortable, but you were okay with it, like a supernatural thing. I mean, I believe in supernatural, man. I mean, I'm living in a house right now where I believe that I think a ghost is walking around in it. In all seriousness, too. But, I feel like certain things will play out, and you might have conjured that thought long before, but somebody might help you guide you through that.
Okay, so now I got a better grasp of what the question was. No, I think I've mentioned this earlier, like, okay, so if what differentiates me from when I first started traveling to me now, I wouldn't really be so much afraid to just literally walk out of the door with nothing and start hitchhiking. I'd walk to the nearest place where I feel like where I can catch a ride, and literally like acquire all the things I need along the way. And now, what I mean by that is because I feel like, people can call it God. People call it a lot of different things. Everyone has their own idea of what their God is, or if it's called God at all. I like to call it the universe. Or, yeah. But the universe is always going to provide for you. But it also depends on how much you're going to be able to go towards it. It works half and half. You have to meet in the middle. But let's just say, there's been many times where I've been out on the road and I needed something, and I may not have had it, when I asked for it, of course, or got it right as soon as I asked for it. But it always comes in time. Like I always feel like there's something out there watching me, and and if I die, and I always had this thought, like if I was gonna die, anytime soon while I'm traveling, then that's just the way it's supposed to be. At least I died doing something, like that was my choice. Like, I died being free.
Fuck yeah, man.
Mm-hmm. And that's like I said, that's the spirit that guides me in my way.
Badass. Dude, Josh, you are the man, dude. Literally, this entire segment has been incredible, and I know it's only a few of the amazing stories that you have, and it's remarkable, dude. What you've done is just so incredible. Stuff that some would not even think of doing. I mean, it's wild, dude. It really is. That's why I love you, man. That's why you're an awesome friend of mine. Always will be, dude, because you are literally just somebody who knows the meaning of going and getting.
I don't know the meaning. I just have a good idea and a good feeling for now.
which is far good enough for me, and I mean I think it's the coolest thing, and it's just so interesting. Dude, I hope you get your sailboat one day, and I hope you have me as like a second or third mate, because I know you said that you were going to get it with your buddy, so I'm assuming he'd be first mate. But yeah.
If anything, we'd be co-captains.
Unreal, man. Oh my god, dude, that is so sweet. Well, Josh, thank you so much, brother, for being on the show. I can't thank you enough. Sharing your story. It's remarkable, dude. You opened my mind. I mean, that last quote, I just wrote it down, dude. I got a page full of stuff from you right now, man, that I wrote down. And if people are smart, they're going to take notes from what you said, because, you know what you're talking about, brother. And that's what I respect about you most, is that you know what you're talking about. You're not bullshitting. And that's what I love about you, dude. I mean, you're spitting out real stuff.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it, dude, for inviting me and giving me this opportunity to talk and stuff. I really hope to come back and hope to tell more stories. And it's not like I'm trying to, I don't know. I don't want any, I would just like to tell my story to someone who's gonna listen, and and it's really fun. I had a great time telling you everything, and I love how it was just kind of seamless. There was never a pause in anything. It was great.
I feel it, brother. And hey, I'd love to have you back on to share more stories. We can create a segment. How does that? I'd love that. That'd be sweet.
Yeah, dude.
Rock on, brother.
Yeah. Say that one more time.
Rock on, brother. You're the man. We'll make a segment.
Party on, Matt. You shall.
Peace out, Josh. Thanks so much,
all right, brother.
Bro.
You have a good night.
You too.